How's everybody doing? Is everybody else enjoying the show? The clown show, the circus? Let's talk about the deep state of deception, what it's good for. Let's talk about, most specifically, Munchausen by proxy, and where that started and what it is now. Let's talk about autonomy. It's like I'm here as an individual, autonomous to myself, and there you are, and everybody else, and what, how much you should be able to regulate your own system, your own being, your own thoughts, your own interaction with nature, and what suggestive magic, what psychology can do, and which gets into Munchausen. The nanny state. Let's get into all those kind of things because it's really quite hilarious, wouldn't you say, at this point? Because as I've said many a time, if you can't laugh at this, you'd lose your mind. I don't know how more people haven't lost their gourd, lost their ability to even rationally, because we're not, obviously nothing happens rationally anymore. There's no rationale to anything, but how people haven't just noticed it and gone, what the is going on, I wonder. And it's because maybe they're in such a deep state of hypnotism and delusion that do they not see it? And where to go from here? I mean, it really does function. This whole thing functions on a type of magic, spell casting, psychology, and the pharmaceutical state. And what is it really good for? What is it? What is the bright side to this? What are the benefits to what's occurring? I'd like to at least put that in there, because it's easy to go. It's easy for most people to notice and see and go, oh, this is so stupid. It's easy. But a lot of people can't even see how stupid it is. They're angry, and they really truly believe it's like going to a magic show and believing it's not some smoke and mirrors. It's like, okay, this life is an illusion, everything's an illusion. We live in Maya the illusion, because everything is mentally processed to come out as this physical reality, etc., etc. Sure, that's for 1% of people to even consider and explore from a magical realm. But I'm talking about the simple psychological thing that's going on, where how are we still watching the TV and believing it and not seeing it as just bits and pieces of information that we can look at and go, what does this mean? And it's like going to a comedy show and thinking that they're not giving jokes, going to a circus and not seeing it as a show, going to a just to watch magic, to watch David Blaine or whoever your favorite magician is, and not to just know, right? You go in knowing that what they're doing is they're pulling tricks. Start watching some of the Penn and Teller stuff. Fool Me. Go watch David Blaine. Go watch these magicians. And there's magic shops. There's ways of sleight of hand. And what's happening is look into magicians that use hypnotism in their act. The fact that it happens literally on stage and people are like, oh, that's what's happening on a mass scale. But nobody just accept. Like, you have to just, once you accept that, then you can see through it. How have we got to the point where now we've been so We're so lost to our own being, our own self, our own health, our own understanding of the world, that we just give up the whole thing to anybody else that tells us anything. We just right away. That's of course. That's the authority. That's the church. That's the science. That's the religion. That's the authority. They must know better because I'm an idiot. I don't know anything. People have to have to try to find a little more trust and self-respect that you know something. You must know something. I don't care how you were a bad student or you didn't understand. There's things you understand, and there's the basic, how a dog or a wild animal or a baby, they innately, intrinsically trust certain things, and other things they're because they're using their senses. That's been removed from people. It's not gone. It's just people just you think the idea of a thought police isn't already a thing? You think Orwell was wrong? People already, you give them a thought and they get angry that you even give them a thought that is outside of the bounds of what is the popular prescribed narrative, and they get upset and angered by it. Because I can't think that. Oh no. Well, welcome. I'm Zen. You are you. You're over there. It's good to see you. If you don't know, I have another channel, Zen-Atman. This is my backup. And so we're here now for a little bit. Hope you enjoy. Hope this is engaging and educational, and I'll be somewhat entertaining. A few people in my building, they're what's that song? Down with the Sickness. And I've seen them, and they're perfectly fine. Somebody's like, I'm a little lazy, a little tired, but and they went and they decided to ask someone else, which is here's the thing is if it's a business, something's incentive. There's an incentive. There's an incentive for businesses to make money. There's an incentive for corporations. This isn't easy. So they're gonna go and ask them, if their incentive is for you to need whatever solution, drugs or something, or to be sick, Munchausen's, then in what way, how would they ever even think it's a good idea to tell you that you're not? If you bring your car in to get fixed for something, they're going to look at over the whole car and be like, well, this probably might go wrong in about, a year. Could break. They're going to tell you that. Of course, they're going to tell you the worst case scenario, and they're going to oversell everything. So yeah, as I'm sitting here smoking hookah, can't be too healthy. Having a mixed drink, can't be too healthy. Hey, and I even crack a beer. And what have I been doing? You all known me for how long? What have I been doing? I'm healthy as a fucking ox. Sure, I get my little arthritic things from eating fried food and being stupid and treating myself wrong and in a healthy way, and I'll deal with that. But all in all, pretty all right. How? Because I'm not listening to anybody else about what my general sense of well-being and health is. It makes no sense. If I'm sitting here vomiting all over the place, sweating, and I have scabs and bleeding out of my orifices, I think at that point, maybe I might go, hey, could somebody assist me with this? I don't know what's going on here. Maybe somebody else could help me. And I think that maybe would be a good idea. But to be walking around perfectly fine. I got a little soreness in this muscle. My ankle's a little jimmy jammed up because a little dehydrated, ate some shit, right? Whatever. I'll deal with that. That's mine. That's mine to deal with. But for everybody at every whim, people that have that, what's the other word for it? when I was a kid, I would always end up going to the nurses because I wanted to get out of school. But I would always feel sick, and I did have parents that was like, oh, you got allergies, you got this, you got, and I did have very much this is what Munchausen's means, is that you have a caregiver, parent, whatever, that makes you think you're sick when you're not. And that, from one level, then you define yourself as, oh, this is what sick is. I mean, you come out the womb, they tell you you're sick. According to science, you're sick because we gotta cut up the testicles, we gotta stab you with this, we gotta do all these things. You're defined as sick. And according to religion, you're a sinner, you're sick. Then your parents do it and the state does it. But yet, and then they go a little farther with this. And then the next level of that is the psychological trauma, the PTSD, and the, more importantly, the placebo. If you think something enough, you'll become that. If you continually think that you're not good enough, you won't be. If you think that you will succeed, you will. It's that kind of notion. But if you think you're sick, your mind will start to really facilitate the rest of the body with the chemicals and the feelings and the energies that will make you not well. And we're continually told that. Again and again, watch the news. Everything's war and terror and unease and sickness and depravity. So why do we continue believing these things? Why can't people just wake up and say I'm an amazing, powerful, wonderful, creative individual? I wasn't taught to do that. Do I do that every day? No. Do I have my bad days? Sure. But why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? It's like when I lived where it was cold, it was my choice to live there. I mean, yeah, certainly some people have a harder time to get to where they want to be, but like my choice to be cold, my choice to be sick, uneasy, that I could go to where it's healthy. Now, in a physical thing, I chose where it's warm. I chose where there's nice people. I chose where there's a climate that I like. And so mentally, the climate that I like to make for myself is one of, hey, look at this. Isn't this interesting? Isn't this amazing? Look at me, I'm healthy. Why wouldn't I choose that? Even the times that I don't really believe it, because I got this little, got a little cough, I don't even know the last time I had a cold or anything. I really don't. Yeah, I get a little sniffle here and there, but all in all, if I maintain the mental attitude that I'm good enough, I'm strong enough, I'm healthy enough, then why wouldn't I be? Sure, there's some things that your body will have to go through trials, tribulations, and battles with, right? Because your body is continually, on an everyday basis, there are a bunch of bacteria, good and bad and indifferent. There are a bunch of different, eat some yogurt, you got all these different cultures, and you got good ones, and you got ones that are like bad mold, and you got blue cheese, good mold, you got all these different things. All of these chemical reactions are going in the body all the time. And sometimes you get an overwhelming of one thing, and then your body has to go through, you got to get your white blood cells and doing all their work, and they're going to come out and do their job. It's constantly occurring. And as long as you do the things physically, consuming things, getting sunshine, grounding yourself, eating the right things, and mentally keeping yourself, because mentally you're going to be, the placebo is a thing. It's a huge thing. It's also the nocebo effect, nocebo and placebo, that you're going to start creating those chemicals into your body that will assist your body or destroy it. Hello, welcome everyone. What's up? What's up, Katie? What's up, Skull? Yeah, if I was doing any better, I'd have to be two people. A Wim Hof. Skull, it's still not on my side. I don't know how quickly or how that works, because I know I've changed my picture, and sometimes I see it and other people don't. It's a weird thing. I don't know how long it takes. What's up, Denise Franson? Yeah, I mean, look at Wim Hof. I mean, he's proven time and time again. He literally said recently, in an interview talking about this whole dog and pony shit show. That he's like, I don't care. Find me the people that are not well. I'll go around them. They could, cough and sneeze and spit on me. I don't care. I'm fine. I have control of my immunity. This is how he's putting it. He's saying that he can, the studies have shown he's been to like NASA and Johns Hopkins, and all of these other different places doing these studies on breathing and how the breath is so important in regulating your ANS. And hey, why not? We've certainly survived, whether you believe in evolution or just as long as species have been on this realm. We've been here for quite a long time, and I don't remember the last time. I don't remember being born with a muzzle on, and I don't know what good that would serve me or anybody else right now. It seems like to be the opposite of the truth. Yeah, I like that. The internal sensation, what most people call pain, you call the feeling of healing. Yeah, pain is weakness leaving the body. Pain is, healing is hell. Oftentimes, the process of the body reconstructing or ridding something is energy being expended to get some sort of result, right? When after you have broken a bone, the process of it healing is painful. It doesn't. There's times you'll have these, and that's there's something going on there, but that broken bone is stronger than it was prior, huh? So most of the healing, because healing is hell, is upregulating things and making the body warm, because it's interaction of chemicals and things going on that is a friction or a heat, and that heat burns off dross, which then allow for the healing modalities, however the cells work and create their magical thing to make new bones after you break something, or grow fingernails, or grow hair, or cause color to your beard, or whatever it is. You cut yourself, that heals. How come? Funny enough, both this sweatshirt and this right here are a friend of mine's. They gave me this, which I was like, oh my god, thank you so much. And this was a hard borrow. It was a hard borrow in the sense that I was like, I don't have any hoodies, and I'm putting this on, and you're not getting it back unless it's really cold and you need it. I was like, this is mine at this point. And I was like, in fact, here's how it's mine. I'm gonna go out and I'll find another hoodie. And if it's equally as cool as this one, if you find it to be an equal trade, then we'll call it barter. Until then, I'm just holding this hostage, but it's pretty sweet too. Check it out. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Oh, Skull, I didn't know that. Yeah, go for it. That's awesome. Yeah, Super Champ, what's up, yo? Hey, Skull, you know, John Shamanic, right? He was in a bunch of he did a radio show, and he did a bunch of interviews, and he was like in The Sun, The Mirror, and a bunch of other different UK things for drinking piss. You remember this? Did you ever see it? John Shamanic. I don't know that he knows that I have this channel, but he always comes to my other channel, and you probably know him from my Instagrams, but yeah, it was funny because when he did the radio show, they got him on there with the intention of goofing on him, because it was like a morning, look at this, look at this idiot, da da da, and he just sat there and laughed in tune, going like, look at me, because he's a strong dude. He's like, he does all sorts of yogic practices and kung fu and breathing and drinks his piss, and he's cut. He's built, and he just is sitting there. He's like whenever they're trying to make fun of him, he's just like he's laughing with them. He's like, yeah, but does this look like it's being destroyed? Does this look like is my body of work telling you otherwise? Like you look at my body of work that I've had through years. Does it appear that I'm succumbing to the disease of being alive? Yeah, it's well documented, but again, let's just start at the beginning. Everybody knows this, but let's just say it. There's no money in it. There's no money in distilled water because it's free, and you can't really go to a store. They can't make distilled water. They can get away with making distilled water $10 for a gallon. It's cheap because they've already eliminated the idea that it's good. It's already saying no good. It's gonna delete. It's deleterious to the system. You need more inorganic salts, making people think that Himalayan sea salt is the best thing since sliced bread. But how much money is there in the fact that you hold in you the golden the golden ticket, the healing modality that you already are it? There's no money in that. There's no control. There's nothing nothing can be done. So who put thumb down and say no you need this and you need this when it's on board. Your spacesuit, this thing that you're in, it already contains within the poison, the panacea that comes out of you. There's no money in it. There's no control in it. Oh, there's no gray hair. I do have some gray. I will say I do have some gray. And I have. But it's really only due to the past couple of years of just eating like trash and not getting that much sunshine. But I've known plenty of people to reverse the gray, and I've seen mine go away when I get more sunshine and do things. It's just a matter of getting more melanin in the eyes. So you got neuromelanin that comes in through the eyes. If you stare out into the light, into the sun, that neuromelanin will start to, make your brain more powerful, and you get melanin on your skin. That darkening from the light is the same thing that would happen to your hair as well. It's building up enough of that that the most expensive thing on the planet is melanin. I think it's more expensive than gold at this point, or whatever. Is platinum more than gold? I don't know how, but buying melanin is it's a thing. Except you could just go out and get some. Although some people have a hard time processing it because they have so many things in their body, in their their alchemical retort, their system, their human body. The processing of sunlight, which charges your brain and your body and turns it into a darker pigment, a hue that is then basically called black matter, or the the black matter is what's the condensed energy that then is able, just like a piece of coal, and you light it on a fire, it will burn for a long time, right? Just like a dark tree, it's dark brown. You can burn trees. There's in the brown and the black colors is melanin, and that whatever you want to say of how that's created or whatever, it's condensed stored light, and the condensed stored light is dark. It's dark matter. Making it a simple thing out of like some scientific, dark matter, it's out in outer space and it's Skull, I never thought about that. Amy got a pot and piston. That's a really interesting one. There's so much. Maybe I'll try to do a show on all of those common held, like, you know, those things we say, like pot pissing or those kind of things, you know, that people just use as common vernacular of ideas that just, it seems like it means nothing, but it might mean a lot more, because there's no reason it would held like holy cow, holy shit, holy cow, holy shit, ain't got a pot pissing. Well, the cow is holy for a bunch of reasons. Shit is holy because mushrooms grow off it, but cow is holy because it maintains entire cultures. It feeds through the milk, and what it's doing, it's a gentle creature. It goes back to aurochs. I mean, cows are holy. If you go to, like, it's elephants too, right? You go to India and see how they revere the cow and the elephant. You think that's just because they're silly? They're stupid. They don't know what's going on. I don't know. And they have a lot of melanin, dark brown. They're highly intelligent. Get into their religion, their religious type ideas, and, you know, their mathematics and their history, and long lived and strong. And I mean, what's going on here? Six, 16, and 61. Crazy. No shit. 61. And you still kicking around? A beast. A lot of people don't want to be a beast. I think people should aspire to be beast like. I mean, if you're not gonna be mankind, if you're not gonna be a subspecies of a human, at least aspire to be a beast, rather than whatever the hell else people are doing. Yeah, the hard borrow. It's like, it's not quite stealing, because it's somebody I know and they would let me have it, but it's like, it wouldn't be Indian giving, if, you know, or if they needed it, I'd give it back. So it's kind of like an indefinite borrow. I was like, it looks better on me anyways. What's up, Divine Light? What you doing? So I've been considering getting an animal. And I'm getting pressured in getting an animal, because I'm just by myself. I don't really fucks with too many other people's. I mean, I do, but like, that'd be nice. But I had a dog. You all know I had a dog. She made her way into another realm, and so a friend of mine just a couple days ago, 2 days ago, was like, hey, you should, you know, she'd been telling me for a while now, get a dog, get a hamster, get a guinea pig. I never had a guinea pig. I think they're cute. I'll get a guinea pig. I can take it anywhere. Or get a cat. I like cats, but I don't want an indoor cat. I like the cats that are outside. I want them to be. Cats need more room. Dogs can be a little more domesticated, and I don't find as much damage to their being, right? Although if I had a dog, then I got to be that dog's friend. I would like to have 3 dogs, but I ain't got enough room for that. So the day after she tells me, go get a dog, don't I walk out my gate, and this dog, this chick's got 2 dogs, this one dog just runs up and jumps on me, and I'm playing with it, and it's a black dog with a white patch. Looks exactly like my old dog. And she goes, you know, that dog's up for adoption. It's like 4 months old. I was like, oh my God. But, you know, being by myself, like, I don't know if I want the responsibility again. I don't need, you know, another 17 years of responsibility for an animal, right? Because if I were gonna get an animal, it would be something that I could leave, like a cat would be fine, but I want a capybara. You know what a capybara is? I would get one of those, or I would get a sloth. Those two are fine. A capybara because it's awesome, and I could deal with that because it's not quite a dog. It's not quite it's but it's awesome. And a sloth would be awesome because it doesn't need much. It doesn't need constant taken care of. But so those would maybe yeah, get a pig. Well, I know people in the city that have pigs. And a pig is cool, but again, the size of my place, and I mean I'm indoor outdoor, so I don't, I'm not like, so the whole having a dog, I wouldn't be keeping it hostage. You know what I mean? Like I don't like the idea. Mostly, I don't like the idea of keeping pets. I would like that to be free to roam as it does, but obviously, cars and humans are weird, so you gotta take care of it. Yes, I am Glenn with a lot of extra N's. Yeah. I went to your channel the other day. I was trying to figure. Hey, Glenn, I was trying to figure out who you were because you had told me, Katie was your dog, and like most of your videos are about you know your dog, and I was like, oh, which one is Glenn? And so I seen a couple different people, and I was like, I don't know. I was about to go through your whole video collection. Meat is it a bull terrier? No, I Meatwad was a pit bull and lab, and the one that I seen was a lab and something. And then she said she didn't know, which either means she doesn't know, or she can't say it's a pit bull because you can't say it because those are the evil ones. They're pit bull's dangerous. A pit black lab. Oh, okay. Your screen, your picture. That's Frankie, the other puppy. Ah, yes. Really, what I'd like to do, I think, is to have um a timeshare dog. You know, because as a single individual and having wanting to have enough of a life where I can not have to come home every single night if I didn't want to and other shit going on. But I know, I mean, through the years, like I had to be home every day. It's just like there's no escaping. Like I got to take my dog. I don't care how fucking drunk or stupid or whatever the fuck I'm doing. I have to come home. It's just what it is. But if I could have a timeshare dog where I could have like three people have a timeshare dog, you get it 2 days apiece. Somebody gets 3 days. That's a big win. Even to split it 50-50 with somebody. It's like I like a dog. I like the company. I miss it when it's running around, but all in all, like yeah, at least I could still have my own autonomy. Not to always be like, well, in a little bit I gotta go fuck with this dog. Hey, check it out. Let me go. I gotta go spark up a coal for this hookah. I'll be right back. I'll see you guys in 1 minute. And if you guys think of any subject matter material that you want to talk about, let me know. Hello again. What's up, Melissa? You can't live without the sun, skin, dirt, or water. When you say skin, are you talking about like another person's skin on skin contact? Is that what you're talking about? Or you just mean having skin and not being completely bones? Dirt and water? Yeah. Dirt? I think people downplay dirt, man. You wouldn't be able to stand. If there was no dirt, what would you stand on? And what is it about animals and children and tribes that they're so interested in covering themselves in mud, or having what is that? Why? Because they're unrefined. Because they're uncultured swine. I don't think so. Did I try your playlist? No, if I'm ever checking someone's channel, I just hit videos, so then it scrolls like most popular, and then I'll just scroll through and just click on random shit. Oh. Oh yeah, burp god. Oh. Feeling like I might want to draw on myself today. Should give myself a tattoo. Anybody? What do you think? Should I do a tattoo? Should I do it on camera? I would have to draw for a minute or two. I have to draw for like 10 minutes to get my, fast twitch muscles and everything working right. I've been drawing in a while. Scott, anybody ever to a mud monster at a festival? Would you be like a festival where it's raining, it's a mess? What you mean? Or you mean like where everybody's a bunch of drugged up, drunken dipshits listening to music and jumping in the mud? Savannah. Isn't Savannah isn't that nice place on the water in Georgia? Why would they have good tattoo shops, honestly? I'm just asking, because I unless I'm thinking of a different place. I've been through Savannah, I think. Isn't it right there? Isn't it right there on the shore? It's like a super white town. I don't see it. Divine. You woke up to me sitting in your kitchen, and I laughed, and you gave me a beer. It seems. Cheers. Hey, who knows? I think we're going the direction of having stable climate closer to warmth. So like the warming thing, I think is a good thing. I don't think it's doing what everyone says, and the whole like ice shelves. Look at the idea. Let me explain something. Just for everybody that still thinks that ice melting is going to raise the sea levels. It's not how it works. When you freeze ice, it's one of these. When you freeze ice, when you freeze water, it's called. You know how there's a bunch of different things that happens to water that just don't seem like it should happen. You know what I'm talking about? These little idiosyncrasies of how water has these. They're called the anomalies. You know what an anomaly is? An anomaly of water. When you freeze, as things get colder, anything gets colder. It condenses. Heat expands, cold condenses. Until the point with water, when it reaches the freezing point, it starts to expand. That's why if you put something in the freezer put a beer in the fridge or in the freezer, it will explode because the pressure will. So why did it start to expand when it freezes? So all of this ice that sits above the water, because as it floats, it goes above the water. When it melts, it's not going to get any higher. It's not going to raise the level of the seas if you melted all the Greenland and Antarctica and whatever. That's not how it works. You know, because the water is not that big. If you melted that continent, it doesn't add that much water, because that's not how much ice is a cubic yard of ice is not a cubic yard of water. So so from the stance of rising sea levels and all that, no, that's not how it works. It's a joke. It's the simplest thing, and nobody even clues into that. They haven't figured it out. They're still like, oh, it's gonna melt all the water, melt all the ice. Yeah, if it is right, then here's how I know it's not. Here's how I know it's not right. Because do you know how many people that are in the know, rich people that are very far up in the pecking order? You know where they bought land and where they own property, and people that are buying like oceanfront property. And I think it was Dan Pena who was laughing about it. He's like, he was just basically, I'll prove to you this rising sea levels is a joke. He's like, look at all of the property that's owned by very, very high level rich people and where they're building things at. They know what's going on. If they didn't, the only way that they would be doing that, building things and high rises and whatever, the only reason they'd be doing that is perhaps insurance money. But they don't need insurance. They don't need to invest into insurance. They can already make plenty of other investments. It doesn't take rising sea levels to destroy their property to get more money, because it's already. You have to understand, they're not buying the property, they're buying the land. And if that land doesn't exist anymore, that's a bad investment. Why would you buy land where it's not going to exist in 10 years? It makes zero sense. There's no insurance for land that goes underwater. There's insurance for if your property falls down. That's what they're insuring. Just find out where people are buying land, and that will be fine. Rich people are buying land where? Who cares if the temperature goes up? I think the temperature will start to regulate around the realm, and it won't be so much really hot here and really cold there. I think it will start to, kind of. Why if the sun is doing the thing it's doing and the moon's doing the thing, like what's really changing? There's probably going to be some things that change in the way time works. So if somebody was making a clock, let's see if you can follow this here. If I'm a clockmaker, and I've made his most magical clock is based upon 24 hours a day, 60 minutes in an hour, etc., etc. And all those gears work that way. And the expansion and compression of the things inside of there work in a certain way. What if I just decided I wanted to change that clock? I change a couple gears in it. I change where you call them planets or moving bodies of energy. I change where the sun is. I could change all that. What's it going to change? Everything about the climate. It doesn't. It's just changing the gearing mechanism. So who's to say that the gearing mechanism of what's been going on within the Saturnian timekeepers? Is everybody happy being on the same timeline, the same time scale, the same, like, if you go very far into the north or the south, you'll find times that there's 6 months of sun and 6 months of winter, and we could change that. Would you like me to change that? As a Time Lord, I could change that. Why wouldn't I? I mean, I just kind of liked it the way it was, but we can change that. Yeah, here. I'll do. I could probably. Here, I'll do it right now. Fuck it. Let's do a show on. I should save this for another show, but who cares? You guys are here. Let's get to it. I was gonna tell you to do some homework, but I'll do it for you. I'll do all the footwork here. I believe there's something like 100 different anomalies to water. Just to let's dig into this, so we can really define what I mean. Because first of all, let's start with nobody here knows exactly what water is. I will say that I'm pretty secure in my understanding that water is unto itself a singular element. Thus, the 4 elements. And I am one to say, even furthermore, I think there are 3 elements, and fire is a transmutative force or an energy that is separate. Fire is the result of a change in vibration or heat. It's not an element. It's a transmutative force. So I think there's 3 elements. Nonetheless, water unto itself is not. If we break down elements into their fractionated version, you'd say there's all sorts of things that are in the air, or all sorts of things that are in the water, or all sorts of things that are in the earth. There's nothing in the fire. The fire is the thing, right? But if we look at water, you can't say hydrogen and oxygen, because then that's 2 elements. But they're secondary elements. Water is itself, and there are anomalies. Oh shit! Let's see what we got here. Anomalies of water. See what we can find. What do you say? Give it a shot. There is more than 70 anomalies in water, which means shouldn't happen, can't happen, based upon it being hydrogen and oxygen, or that it doesn't perform the way that reality would say this is what should happen. Primarily, the first one is, as something gets colder, it gets more dense. Doesn't happen when water turns into ice and it expands. That's an anomaly, which means it shouldn't happen unless we don't know what water is. Let's see. So it's taking me a second here to use this Okay, well, there's over 70, but here this person has 41 listed here. Come on. You think you've accumulated enough scars to be wealthy in Valhalla? Is that how that works? I was unaware. I was unaware. That's interesting, though. Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, here's the anomalies. Water has, well, it's not going to give me the whole breakdown because I just wanted to list. It has an unusually high melting point. How would you melt water? Interesting. It has a high boiling point, critical point. It has a unusually high surface tension and can also bounce. It has a high viscosity, high heat of vaporization. Water shrinks on melting. That's a funny one. Water has a high density that increases on heating. A density that increases on heating. The number. Okay, here's something that maybe won't make sense. The number of nearest neighbors increases as on melting. The pressure reduces. Okay, there's a bunch that might be a little more scientific, and I'd have to explain what it all means. It would take all day. The speed of sound increases with the temperature of water. Water has a low coefficient of expansion. Water has unusually low compressibility. You can't compress water. Supercooled water has 2 phases and a critical point. X-ray diffraction shows detailed structure. Okay, there's a bunch here that are, I'd have to. It's going to go against the sciences in a different way. It's too much to explain, I guess. Warm water vibrates longer than cold water. Electrical conductivity of water. There's actually electrical conductivity in water, and it rises to a maximum at about 230 degrees and 230 degrees Celsius, and then falls, which would be, it would continue to rise, and it shouldn't fall. Okay, so yeah, there's just so many weird things about water. There was a better list here that it made it a little more pedestrian, so I could read it and it make sense, so you didn't have to have a tongue in the scientific linguistic background, There you go. Oh, there's a good one. Lighthouses. Lighthouses are enough to prove the shape of the Earth. Lighthouses will prove the shape of the Earth. That's one major thing. But also the fact that they're so ancient and old that apparently sea level is the level of the sea. Does it really change? I don't know. My only understanding of how we could raise or lower the level of the water is if there was something beneath the system and there was a drain or a pump beneath us, you could take a pump beneath you. If you have a pool and you had a drain and it drained out, drain it out the bottom, lower. If you had a pump to pump water in there, you could. That seems like the only way that could really change the level of how much we're not changing the amount of dirt. If the realm is the size of the realm, the water, even if it's either way you look at it, circular or flat, whatever the hell, the only way that's changing is if you add or take away. And it doesn't seem like we're adding or taking away anything, considering it appears that we're inside some sort of system that is self-regulating, self-perfecting, self-balancing. Homeostasis seems like it's always looking towards homeostasis. Everything looks towards homeostasis, including the human body. But we do everything we can to put it outside of homeostasis. Oh, here's a good one about the levelness of things. Okay, you know that that one thing it's this, maybe it's in Sweden or somewhere, I don't know. Somebody put a pendulum, a giant pendulum, and it does this thing, and so that's proving the Earth is moving or whatever. But that's not why it's doing that. I'll prove that's bullshit. Go look at a grandfather clock. That has to be extremely precise. That any movement in the Earth would change how precise it is to go from here to here, to here to here. That pendulum that's swinging, if it was if I set it this way or this way, it would change where it could be going back and forth. It could too far that way. Any clockmaker knows there has to be an absolute. There's an absolute to it. There's no bobbing and weaving and swaying and movements and spinning and gyrosphering and gyrating and all of this shit. You couldn't have a level. You couldn't have a square. You couldn't have any of this shit. None of it would work. It'd be like trying to solve a math problem, having mathematics that don't have boundaries. Math has boundaries, so that way we can say within this space, within this mathematical construct, we can create something. If it was infinite in every direction, if math gave you infinite possibility like that, then you couldn't frame and confine something to say, well, here is this piece of logic, or this piece of land, or this piece of mathematics, because there'd be infinite variables. But there isn't, because the construct says, here's where the walls are, here's where this math stops. But to go further, just because the boundaries for your mathematic constructs, let's say your boundaries for the way your geometry is always going to be the same, but math will change. Geometry is a relationship of values between the size or scope of something to something else. That's the geometry. It's relationship. Geometry is relationship. Mathematics is mathemagic. It's regulated, and you can put any name, number, design, whatever to decipher that geometry. Now, if I say here's your boundaries and here's your room, you have a square. Let's just use a square, 10 by 10. There's what you can do your math in. That does not take away from the fact that outside of that is larger boundaries for more mathematics, and it's still going to maintain the same geometry, but a larger form of mathematics, larger form of what to do. In a small space, you can only do so much. But that doesn't take away from there still needs to be boundaries to design and create something based upon a mathematical formula. Hope that makes sense. It's like people say the world works on math. No, it doesn't. It works on geometry. Geometry is not math. Geometry is the golden mean. The math didn't exist to create this. It so happens we can show you how geometry works. Geology, biology, we can show you how that works through mathematics, which is a secondary function. It's like English, your language, French, German, Italian, whatever it is secondary to source code. What is the animal doing? How is nature unfolding? How do things grow? How does the words that I'm choosing to use are no different than mathematics, because I can use math and English. I can use math if I define English by mathematics, meaning I'm going to tie letters and numbers together. How does that work if I'm speaking in a different language? It's a different math. But behind that is the expression of nature, the unfoldment of how does a flower grow. That's going to happen. Plant a seed somewhere and tell me how that works. Make an organic creature, a being, and watch how the human body unfolds. There's going to be relationships. This to this is in relationship to this. As this is to this, you know what I'm saying? It's that's how that works. It's just one thing. There's one mathematical, it's not even mathematical, it's one constant geometric form that is being unfolded. Now in the computer system, it's called, you have phi and you have pi. 1.3, you have 3.14 and you have 1.618. Very similar, because they go into infinity, which is the mathematics that goes to infinity. One is the computer operating, how something unfolds, and the other is how nature unfolds. One's organic and one is artificial. But nonetheless, they both function. They both work. Geology is fake. Meltology is where it's at. Yeah. I mean, when I say geology, I'm not talking about the structures that we see as like a mountain, because it's obviously melted. But the geology, the basic geology is geometry. Geo, I mean, what that was to begin with is much different than what we see. It's like how things melt. There's probably even some sort of function in reverse of how something grows, I would suppose. Bricks are round, they're just too big to see the curve. Yeah, really. Like right now is like there's it's confusing to me that if given the opportunity to look at the information, so sit down, just here's the idea, the case for the Earth being, the realm being as flat, it's a flat thing, versus being a spinning ball, and here's how big it is. The amount of information that is on the side of it being flat, it's far outweighs. It's not even close. And for people to take one thing that proves the whole fucking thing, go get your P9000 camera thing. Just go see. That right there alone can disprove the entire thing. You can get a strong enough telescope, look from where you are to that island over there that's 20 miles away that you shouldn't be able to see, because there would be curve there. It's not. And the fact that there's even, once that is established, once you can establish that, everything else is, for as far as I can tell, complete. I don't care what you're saying. What this water just is flat here, but not over there? I don't care with the earth, there's dips and valleys and this and that and whatever. You're telling me that I can see that island over there with this thing here. Somehow it's seeing over a curve. Now I can't have a conversation with you, and I feel that way about anybody. That if you can reason, if you can sit down and really look at something with an open mind, go, what makes more sense? The fact that I can see the moon out when the sun is out, and I can see half the moon and it's right across from each other, that right there alone is an absolute proof. Absolute. The saying the island of it, the absolute proofs. Those are two absolute proofs. Everything else is then becomes, I'm like, how do I even talk to this person? That person becomes literally a regurgitating fool. Was I a regurgitating fool? Yes. I didn't look at the information. Once I did, I was like, oh, okay. I'm happy to be wrong. I was wrong about that. How do you... So, as my other show I was going to do, but I'll just tie this in here. The bright side of all of these things that are going on is that it's so apparent who the dummies are. So it's so apparent who doesn't think, who has no capacity for... And this isn't even high-level thought. This is simple thing. This is something that if they weren't given so much ridiculous information and repetitive and about things through their youth and have this concept built as to the realm we live on, if they didn't have all that and they were given both options as to growing up, here, look at both these, make which one seems more true, there's not one child that would go with we're spinning and things aren't flying off, and you couldn't prove that. It's unprovable. And yet we're stuck here with people that like they're stuck in not even adolescence, not even childhood, like complete just you couldn't even give people enough information. I've said it before about like you buy things from people you like. When you sell something, you don't sell them on how good something is or why it's awesome. You sell it on from a feeling, right? These people are so devoid of feeling now, and so void of doing any research that their brain doesn't function, that there's nothing you could do. There's nothing you could be like. You could tell someone, I'll give you $1 million to sit down for a week and look at this information, really open-minded. Read and research. Here's some Eric DeBay, and here's some other flat, realm things, and here's some, and put these against each other. And what sounds more reasonable? Who has something to win? Who has something to lose? What would be the purpose of anybody? Why would anybody really, truthfully, want to be a flat earther? There's no reason. No reason to want to be. I don't want to be. That's stupid. I don't want to have to argue with people every day and go like, oh well. But in reality, like, I'm not willing to deal with dealing with other people's falsities and bullshit. Sorry, what you're saying is bullshit. That's all there is to it. Yeah, thank you. Foucault's faulty pendulum. Yeah, I mean, there's no way of seeing. I seen a dude zoom in on the sun yesterday and say there's clouds on the sun and there's rain on the sun and things like that. And he had this really great telescope and all this stuff, but he was still then the next video I watched of his like, oh, went to the moon and the people on the moon and da. I was like, you literally have a telescope, you're looking at the sun, and you somehow you've convinced yourself that there's rain on a sun that, according to you, is 92 million miles away, and there's clouds on that everything, like, how are you saying this? And he believes it. You can't unsee it, but it doesn't mean to believe it. We've already been told, do not believe your senses. It's kind of like watching a magic trick. Well, you know better than believe the magic tricks, and that's what they do to things that aren't magic. The things that aren't magic are there. It's out there in reality. Go look at it. And they go, oh, no, I could be confused. But they're willing to listen to all the books, and the people go, but it's 93 million miles away, and it's 238,000 miles away, and it's just exactly the same size, and this and that, and blah, 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 blah. I have a couple rules. One of the major ones is if you think anybody went to the moon, I can't have a conversation with you. You're an astronaut. Your mother's an astronaut. Your father's an astronaut. Your whole family's an astronaut. Nothing you say has any validity. I don't care what you say. You're either confused, lying, or wrong. And it's like it's not going to be. There's not going to be a good conclusion to come to here because there's nothing you're going to do to convince me of your position because I had your position for a very long time, and then when I observed it, I realized how faulty it was. So if you get into kinesiology and physical therapy, there are what's called correct, strong positions, and there's weak positions, and ones that won't hold. And the position that anybody went to the moon, or that the moon is an object, or that the sun is that far away, or the Earth is some. There's nothing strong there. There's just deep delusion. It's just. You're just saying words, and your words are worthless. So tired of listening to people with worthless things to say, like this whole thing now, with the other thing that's going on. You're not going to convince me. Granted, there are things that are very pernicious, and will attack your biology, your human biology, and things that are not healthy. Sure. But as far as your mental acuity and your insights and the words that you use, like that's not going to overwhelm my mind. Just because you keep saying it and believing it doesn't make it true by any means. So literally, people could point at a dog and be like, "That's a duck." Clearly, it's not, and they'll just keep saying it. Clearly, it's still not. Keep saying it. Clearly, it's still not. And that's only going to redouble their efforts to want you to believe that that dog is a duck. It's just, what are you doing? Oh, skull for real? That's awesome. I'll be right back. I gotta piss. Oh, and remind me to continue on about that. Your grandfather told you thing. That's. Okie dokie. So here's the idea. Here's the idea. That it's about history books, whether they're scientific or just history of the world or whatever. And it's not. This is not about winners, right? History. This is about, if we go through this event, we'll call it some sort of demic. Say it's happening. Say it was Spanish, the Spanish flu or something, or any other major thing that's happened. Now, I, I, I don't believe in it. I think it's a farce. But there's other people that do believe in it, very much so, and they're the ones that survived and wrote the book. And there's more people that write books on, oh, the troubling things we've been through, and here's what they're just regurgitating the data that was already proven falsified years and years ago. But they regurgitate the data, and then we go, oh well, my grandfather was through the Spanish flu, and he said this. Well, what if your grandpa is like right now, like we're going through this thing, one of the idiots that buys into the whole thing, and then he wrote a book on it. That's what we have. Why are we qualifying and justifying that? Well, because it was a major atrocity, Civil War, World War, the other weird shit that's going on in the world that doesn't seem to be the way that it's given to us. I'm not saying it was people that were lying. I'm saying it's just given from the popular narrative construct of people that lived through it, but they were the ones, like right now, the people getting all the stabby wabby wabbers and wearing the masky diapery duty faces, and somehow they make it through, right? And they have a story to tell. But their narrative is so one-sided, faulty, and they lucked out because they got a bunch of placebos and a bunch of and nothing really other than planned things within, you know, how much goods and how much goods were available, where you could go, like that had nothing to do with any reality, but they lived through it, so they wrote a story, and that becomes a history book, even though it doesn't have anything to do with truth. It just has to do with their experience of how they dealt with someone bullshitting an entire culture. Is that not what we're doing? Ha 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 ha, Glenn, exactly. Ha 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 ha. That show's funny as shit, man. Oh, you got a P900 for real? Dude, yeah, that would be totally awesome. Can you do some like, can you do some cool shit where you like GPS where you are and where you're taking a picture of? And obviously the moon, if you can take pictures of the moon, that's just fun anyways. But yeah. If you have any like certain distances where you know there should be discernible curve, and it's across, well, you know, usually across water, but land works just as well for people that understand. But that's all. It's always such a, like, in New Orleans we have the longest bridge in the world up until a couple years ago when China wanted to outdo us, or Japan or somewhere. It's like 23 miles long. Anybody want to break that down? The curvature that should happen over 23 miles. I don't know how to figure that out on the top of my head. But so it's called Lake Pontchartrain, and the bridge from one side to the other is 23 miles. It is one of the craziest drives ever. I've done it. And you're in it, and you're in the middle of it, and you're just like, holy shit, this doesn't end. Because there's a lot of long bridges here, and coming in from the east. This one goes north and south over Lake Pontchartrain, and you can see to the other side. and you shouldn't be able to. You can, and the whole thing, there's no in the when it was built, there was no math done for, because if you start to curve something, it's got to be longer than, so it wouldn't be 23.48 miles, it'd be like 24.27 miles or something. And if you get your little camera out there or telescope or whatever, you can see the other side, which you shouldn't be able to see all the things you see. It wouldn't be possible. Oh, Skull, is there a pit stop? Nope. Nope, it's straight across. There's a couple places that are like, you know, where you could, if you had to. I don't think you're allowed to turn around, but there's a couple spots perhaps that are like, for state troopers or whatever, people that work on the bridge. I don't know. There's a couple like houses in the middle that for things, but all in all, no. Once you want it, you want it. Like there was one time I was trying to go to the mall, and if you go right, you go onto the bridge, and if you go straight, you get to the mall. And I almost went onto the bridge. I was like, oh shit. I was like, luckily I didn't, because at the time I didn't realize, like, that's, you get on that, you're gone. You're 26 miles, so you go that way. And so you'd have to go that way and then pay $5 to get back. So that's a 50 some mile round trip plus $5. And I could only imagine how many people have run out of gas or blah blah blah. I'm sure that happens all the time. It's got to be a thing. Oh, the bridge? The bridge is only a few Skull, the bridge is only a few feet off the water. Like it's not like the bridge that goes to the West Bank. In New Orleans there's a Mississippi, right? And the bridge that goes to the West Bank, from New Orleans to the West Bank, is for a long time it was another really really big bridge for some reason, I forget why. But anyways, it's tall enough and big enough where giant Carnival cruise ships, because on the other side is where they dock, so they got to go under this bridge to dock. But the Carnival cruise ships and all these big boats and whatever come down the Mississippi, that's really high. But the one that goes across Lake Pontchartrain, I don't know how far it is off the water. Maybe 14 feet, maybe not even. I don't even know. It's not very far off the water. Like you can see the water right there. It's no, you could jump in and swim. Not that you'd want to, but you could. I don't know. Like I don't know how tall it is where boats could go underneath it. Yeah, it's really interesting. If you look at some maps and look at the bridges that are coming in and out of New Orleans and how long they are. Somebody was telling me the other day, I don't know if you guys were on here, and said New Orleans is an island. And from in every way that you could look at it. Like he was going into like what qualifies and classifies an island, and your own food, your own culture, your own music, your own identity, or and it's got to be the only way in or out is across the bridge or the boat. Like there's no, like, north is Lake Pontchartrain, and that drips off into the water. So if you're coming in from goes into the river, which goes into the ocean, if you come in from Florida, Alabama, you can't get into New Orleans without going over water. And the other side is bridges that come in, and then there's swamplands beneath and around. The majority of New Orleans is basically an island. I don't know where you can't really drive in here without going over a bridge. The only way to get in here, you'd be like really far away around swamplands and shit, and you'd have to take some really odd ways to get into New Orleans. It's for all intents and purposes unto itself an island, and I find that pretty interesting. And so look at all the bridges. It's crazy. The length of these bridges and how they're not very tall. They're not like arching bridges. They're straight. They're flat bridges. Well, happy whoever hasn't been here recently. Happy New Year's. Oh shit! Let me turn this volume down. Happy New Day, whatever. It's January what? What is it? The 11th. Oh, Mardi Gras. It will be. You guys can participate in Mardi Gras with us. That's gonna be, that's gonna be happening here soon. I'm super excited. I wonder what it will look like. You know, with the face diapers and everything, and I, Glenn, I'm with you on that. I don't think for a second that the sun is some gaseous ball of anything. It makes no sense. It's a ball of gas that's again. So outer space has no there's no let's try this out. So Earth has a gravitational thing that pulls everything together, whatever, however they explain this away. And then we go out into outer space where there's no gravity. This is why things float, right? But then out in that floating nothingness is a ball of gas. Shouldn't it just dissipate everywhere? Shouldn't just dissipate everywhere? And how, even though space is cold, there's a ball of heat right there that doesn't just regularly dissipate heat. So everywhere should be really warm around there. Space wouldn't be cold then, would it? But it makes it here, and then all of a sudden it just garners the heat. It does seem very much more electrical plasma. I mean, I'm all with the electrical, you know, the electric Earth theory to a degree. Some things I think they got wrong, especially the shape of the Earth. They still won't. They're still not getting on the flat Earth. I don't understand why, because I think they're trying to sell something. But whatever. It makes more sense. It makes more sense on a flat realm. But whatever. Like plasma and electromagnetic is where it's at, as far as I'm concerned. You should be able to, why wouldn't you? Start, you know. You can, you know what, you can charge a you could probably charge a solar panel, right? With a flashlight, but you couldn't charge it with the fire. Huh. Not to say that the fire itself isn't an electrical construct. Hey, hey, Glenn, are you telling me? You're asking me if I want to borrow it? Are you asking me? I mean, fuck to the yes. Are you for real? For real? Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah. Just, I mean, if you're going, like, I mean, I'll talk to you offline about it. But if you are, I mean, you know, obviously send it with insurance on it, and when I send it back, but that'd be fucking dope. I mean, I would buy one, but I ain't got that kind of fucking money just hanging around. And I would definitely take pictures all over the place of that, of all these anomalies. I mean, I was considering for a while just getting one off of Amazon and then sending it back, but like then I'd still have to come up with I still have to front the original. Like, how much do they cost now? Because I remember they were pretty expensive, and now they have the P1000 or some shit. They got like an even more absurd one that has like 95 or 200 zoom or some shit. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, most of my Glenn, if you're not familiar with my early stuff, I'll try to I'll go back through it again and re-release more of it. But most of it was on how everything is explicitly electrical and magnetic, male and female. And I mean, we have to have the ground because everything is triangulated. But the electromagnetic spectrum, you can't have one without the other. You don't get electricity without magnetism. You don't get magnetism without electricity. It's like how you can take a piece of magnet and wrap some wire around it, and all of a sudden there's some energy that's being presented there. So one is implosive and one is explosive. Masculine is implosive. So this is magnesium, magic, Mary Magdalene. These mag words are very implosive. So we don't really understand implosive technology, but we understand explosive technology. Masculine, as a male explodes, ejaculates. We understand how a rocket and how expression this way, but we don't understand anything of implosion. But if we were to understand implosive technology, how things, so you have centrifugal force, which is spinning, and then you have centrifugal force, or centripetal force, excuse me. So if you have something that's centripetal, you're expressing the energy in two different directions. If I'm magnetic, I'm collecting things to me, energy, but I can only get so much before I have to express that energy. So if I get a lot of money, what do I do with it? I spend it. I give it. That's what it should be. It's complete in, once I breathe in, I have to breathe out. But we're so concerned with breathing out, we forget to breathe in. Breathing in is magnetic. It's the idea of yeah. Well, I would say the other thing that you would probably want is let me go grab it. So I tried explaining this to people before. Cinchona bark. Cinchona bark. Cinchona. Which is how you make a tonic. Tonic water has a special substance that they sell that at the beginning of this whole thing, your Trumpy boy and everybody else is trying to say, hey, you need this one substance, which is the scientific artificial grade of what this is creating inside of a tonic water. And tonic water has this special quality where it glows in black light, and you'd be consuming that. And what you see is that things in the body that are dark, that if you put enough light into it, it will destroy the darkness. And so that the chemicals that are in tonic water are literally what helped cleanse and heal people apparently during certain plagues and things. This is what they drank. This is what they said. They were drinking gin and tonic. And the gin had all of these different herbs in it. And the tonic water especially. The tonic water was destroying darkness and creating light in the body. Essentially, that's how I view it. I did a whole bunch of videos on that a while back too, but So maybe what I'll do is I'll make another beverage out of. I'll make a tonic. Then I'll add some oregano, some sage, and turpentine. I mean, we look into the history of using certain plant life that were very strong. Oregano is one of the, as far as I can tell, if you get good oregano, it's pretty much the strongest shit on the planet. And then cinchona, it's one of the most bitter things you'll ever consume. So the bitter and the whatever you're getting out of the oregano. Oh, for real? See, I'm always on the side of, I'm not a big fan of uppers, just because my mind is already fantastic. That I really like. I like, opioids and things. Just enjoy them. They're cozy. They're comfortable. I mean, even when I've used them in the past, I never used like prescription ones or whatever, but I've here and there. They're never addictive to me because I don't like to be that way all the time. I don't like to be just like fucking mushed out, but I do like it once in a while. I like the polarity of things. I just don't really need uppers too often. But if somebody did like old school, opium dens, I mean shit, what movie's that from? Where all the guys were in the opium den? Was that the Inception? Was that Inception that it was in? Where he was talking to the people that were in the opium den? And they were like, "Are you sure you're not in the dream and we're actually in reality?" Like, because he's, the idea was like, "Oh, I can't believe these people are just sitting out here, just all smoking shisha with opium in it, red rock, and all the other shit." And then they were traveling, and they're like, "Oh, but they're not really living." And like, well, maybe you're not understanding. Like, you're into the dream, we're good. Like, I've given that some consideration. I mean, considering all the other. All of the other plant lives and psychedelics and things, why wouldn't that be? I mean, why are, let's get right to it. The idea that there was any wars over oil and gasoline, no, they were over the wars and things of land were for poppy seeds, because poppies were making some of the most addictive substances on the planet when it comes to the pharmacopoeia, the pharmakia, right? That they were using it, and then while using the medicinal substance, they were adding to it other things that would keep you addicted. The thing itself, not addictive. It's not. It's only addictive in the sense that you like it, and if you want to do that, you'll do that. But these were like, they were adding chemicals and things to it that, just like any other substance we can think of. Tobacco. It's not addictive to me because I don't smoke like cigarettes from the, like I'll get actual tobacco. It's not addictive to me. I don't smoke it for months. I don't care. It doesn't. I don't have some longing for it. The only thing I've ever had any addiction to was really weed, honestly, and other than that, like some sort of chemicals that maybe when I was growing up, like I thought that's what parents, as we were, the beginning of the show was about Munchausen's by proxy. Like think I needed those, and I needed those, and there's plenty of people that have those. Some are mental placebo addictions, and some are actual physical addictions. Yeah, that's funny, Glenn. That's funny you say that. People don't get it. Like technology is just it's no different. Think of people that are putting on the goggles to do all the artificial like playing these games and whatever these this disguised reality, right? To think that a drug that allows you to see with your mind and maybe see something else or hear something as your vision or your hearing becomes different because you're taking a plant or because you're interacting with nature, to think that it's not exactly the same. It's artificial, but it's very much the same as a technology like a camera that you can see farther away, telescope, a microscope. Those are psychedelic. You can't get your eyes to do that. I mean, I've been in dreams where I could zoom in on things. Have you ever had those? That's fucking awesome. I was looking at something and I wanted to see it closer, and I was like, whoop, and my eyesight went right to it. But if we have a technology that does that, to rely on it is no good. But to use it as a trampoline to see something, I can see how you trip out on it. Why not? Like, holy shit, look at this. Some people get addicted to staring through the microscope. You have the people that stare through the microscope, and they want the microcosmic world. And you see people that stare through a telescope to see this larger world and hardly ever see what's just around them or have any interaction with that. Yeah, you never learned shit about magnetism. You get a little bit of insight into electricity. A little bit. Everything is electronics. Everything is electricity. We a little bit in school systems, a little bit in these. They'll tell you electricity. Anybody brings up magnetism, they're like, whoa, how's that shit work? And then anybody says, oh, here's a way to make a magnet to make some sort of energy for free. And then somebody's like, oh, no. That's a second law of thermodynamics. You cannot create something, blah, 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 blah. And there's got to be, like, first of all, the second law of thermodynamics is not a law. It's a suggestion that doesn't necessarily hold weight or truth. It's, you're not completely understanding how that works. But because someone said it's a law, they go, well, it's already written. It's a law. You can't do that. I don't care if I see it done. That's not true. You're doing something. You're tricking. You're doing a trick because there's a law there, and the law says. I'm like, well, it seems to be an anomaly to the law because it's doing something that you said it can't do. Peace out, Skull. I mean, if people get rid of the idea that there's any laws, scientifically or otherwise, just get rid of that in your mind and then see what you can do, it would change everything. Get rid of all the things that you think of as all of these laws. Get rid of it and then see what you can accomplish. Once you say there's a law, somebody goes, oh, well, then that's a boundary. I can't get beyond that. And so even their mind says, okay, I can't even attempt to see how magnets work or how electricity. They don't. It's already been established. They're too full of the establishment. I mean, if it wasn't for the perceived laws of, thermodynamics and all of the other things in scientific communities that are laws, or, you know, water is this and gravity is that, and then let's just, these are theories, and let's just throw them over there, and then just start at the beginning and say, well, what is what? I think we'd find a lot of different things out. So anybody here that's not familiar, it's absolutely free to give me a thumbs up for this. All you gotta do is hit the button. You can hit thumbs down, but apparently YouTube doesn't like that anymore. I don't like it either, because I don't mind thumbs down. Whatever. But if you've been here for this long to give me a thumbs down, something wrong with you. Thumbs up are free. It is also free to donate to me. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. It should be in the description box beneath. I don't know if I did it on this channel, but if I didn't, you can always go to my other channel to find those. Zen-Atman. And it's Cash App and PayPal, TSAR, capital XEN, TsarXen, that's me. And Venmo is Zen-Atman-1. And you can throw me some ducats so I can continue to pay the bills to keep a roof over my head and perhaps get an animal, because I want a dog, or a cat, or a guinea pig, or a capybara. A Pepsi and a smoke. Yeah, I prefer Pepsi over Coke too. Although if I can, the in the America, we get what is called the Mexican Coke, and the Mexican Coke is not only is Mexican Coke better because it's pure, but the Mexican Coca-Cola has real sugar. And also, funny enough, there's a couple places that sell cola just like their store brand, and it's cheap, and it's literally just raw cane sugar and whatever should be in cola, and it's awesome. Have you ever been to a I don't know if Rouse's is down here, but there's like Winn-Dixie. Winn-Dixie has their own kind of cola, and it's like $4 for a 12-pack. Now I don't drink cola all the time, but if I do, that's the way to go. $4 for a 12-pack, and it's good sugar. There's no extra bullshit in it, and it tastes like a hybrid of Pepsi and Coke. So it's bubbly enough like Coke, but it's sugary enough like Pepsi. Yeah. That's the way to go. Yeah, I mean, for women, you got the red tent once a month. Go to the red tent, and then you get the men to go to the opium den. Hey, who knows? I mean, I'm all for the old school. I think every bar should have an opium den in the basement. You know what I mean? You got to have this place, the resource for people that want to interact with certain chemicals, certain substances. I mean, I'm obviously I'm all for complete freedom of whatever you want to stick in your body. I mean, granted, I think there's enough information on every substance of what it will do and which ones you probably shouldn't do, and if you made them without all of the extra bullshit in them, most everything would be a pretty good addition to the human diet. Earth, what does opium feel like? Have you got really stoned on good weed before, but you didn't have all of the mental, like scatterbrain shit, where you were just kind of like melted to a couch? Have you ever hmm, from if you ever had to take a muscle relaxer, somewhere between a muscle relaxer, is this be right? Like a muscle relaxer and a yeah, like a muscle relaxer and a ketamine, but you probably haven't done ketamine. I mean, that's a muscle relaxer too, but like it's not quite disassociative unless you do a lot. It's slightly a disassociative and slightly and mostly like a body high, mushy, and allows the brain to like loosen up, and the body is very calm and warm and still. Um, what would be the other word for it? Yeah, it's opium's dope. I mean, it is dope. Now I can see why they made it out to be a problem, and then they took it all to themselves and added things to it to keep people addicted, because it wasn't at first. It was an easy, natural, like making a poppy tea just for everyday aches and pains of being alive or this and that. That would be a normal part of culture. People wouldn't be walking around all fucking zooted. It's just like it's the same. It's like think about it. How many people, either how many people near you that you live with, work with, whatever, they take some pill or something. Well, there you go. That's the answer. Get rid of those pills. And what were they doing before that? When it was just the herb, just the medicine man, just the what were those substances in reality? The only difference is there was salt and things added to make it so that they could stamp it out and put a trademark, that's theirs, that you can't um, take anything from nature and you can't trademark that. But if I take something from nature and take out one element and then add something to it, I can trademark that. That's mine. That's so that was the goal. And then they added things that were addictive. It's like copyright, trademark, the whole shit. Like it's put a you can't do that with natural substances. So thus they make nature dangerous and illegal and and then not even knowing that. Well, no, don't worry. We took this and cleaned it up and made it better for you. Hmm. Well, shit. It's been like 2 hours. I will call this a show, and got a couple things to do. I think I will. I think I'll have a couple more ideas a little later today, and hope to jump back on here a little bit later. Yeah, Rene Descartes. Forget all that you know. Yeah, it's Well, then to forget what you know, you'd have to remember how to forget. I was sitting the other day staring at a rock. I was at the river, and I was just looking at where the river hits the rocks, and I found myself in that place where I wasn't thinking about the rock nor the river, nor even a thought at all, and I was just there, and I just came back to in a second or two. It's kind of like when, you're looking out the window and you're driving, but you usually have a thought there. No, I was literally in that empty space. I was like, whoa, here I am, still. Anyways, so let me dip out of here. As per usual, stay awesome. Take care of yourself because you're more important than anybody else. Because it's your experience. Enjoy your experience, and when you can, after you take care of yourself, help out others because people need help, obviously. So if you want to help me out, financially or otherwise, you can holler at me, TheoLuminous at Gmail, TheoLuminous, or if you just want to throw me some ducats because you're happy, kind, and giving with your financial credits, your biosurvival units, feel free. It is TSAR, capital XEN, at the Cash App and the PayPal. And the Venmo is Zen-Atman-1. And you can throw me a couple ducats, and I appreciate that. But it's good to see everybody, and I'll try to check you guys out later. Yeah, good to see ferrets look like fun. Yeah, there's a certain something about ferrets, though. Certain something I don't think I could fuck with. I don't know. It seems a little trashy to me. If I lived in a different place, I'd be down with the ferret. I don't know in this building that I would. But yeah, good to see you. Good to see everybody else. Stay well, and we'll chat soon. Toodles, have fun. Oh, and holler at me about that camera thing if you're really down. TheoLuminous, TheoLuminous, means God light, Gmail. Boom. Bye, guys.